My name is Robert Green, and I'm interviewing Clayton Mosier about the blizzard of 1978. Where were you during the blizzard of 1978?
Well, I was out plowing for most of it. I had a three-quarter ton Ford truck with a plow, 8-foot Fisher plow. I was out plowing driveways and trying to keep things open.
What did you think about the approximation of 6 inches for the storm?
Well, I listened to Bruce Swegler, and he changed the forecast that night and said we were going to get a blizzard, and so that's what we went on. We was expecting a lot of snow after that.
What did the government do to help during the situation?
Well, it was a state of emergency. I remember that, and I didn't hear too much because I was out in the truck most of the time, but I did stop at the fire station a few times because they had a standby crew there, so I stopped and see what was up with them. And we ended up, some people were stranded, they couldn't get to their houses, and they got as far as the fire station, so I gave them rides to their houses. And there's nothing else could get through, cars and stuff couldn't get through the roads.
What was being done to deal with the damage of the blizzard?
Well, all the municipal trucks are out trying to keep the roads open, and during the storm it was just not much other than just the town trucks. But then after the storm, they had money available to hire private contractors to come in to open up roads that would fall, that hadn't got opened, and widen roads that were drifted in, and a lot of the towns, the equipment had broken down and during the storm, so they ended up there pretty short-handed.
What were the snow drifts like?
Oh, some places they were pretty tall. I came back to the farm. I left the cows. A lot of hay the night before. By the time I got back the next morning, the road hadn't been plowed. It took me more than an hour to go less than a mile. I had to keep pushing the snow through these big drifts. They were up as high as the hood on the truck. And I had to keep pushing some to the left, push some to the right, just to get through. Sometimes you'd hit it and you wouldn't gain more than 6 inches. Next time you made it, you might gain a foot. And then you might hit a spot where it was drifted clean. You could just go up to the next drift. It was pretty tough pushing for a small truck.
What equipment was used to aid people during the storm?
I think everybody just stayed home and waited for it to stop snowing. Is about all you could do. There wasn't much of anything getting around. I guess some of the fire trucks had crawls. Some of them were able to get around, but I don't think the police were able to get around much at all. Just too much snow.
Yeah. How was your family able to feed itself?
Well, I guess everybody had plenty of food in the pantries, and some places lost power. But my grandmother at the farm, she lost her power, but she had a wood stove, so she was able to keep warm with that. And she was able to cook on the wood stove, so she was all set until she had able to keep going with no power. The only thing she didn't have running water. Only one gravity-fed line came down from the spring, and she was able to get cold water there, but she could heat that on the stove if she wanted to make coffee or tea or something.
And finally, how has the storm affected your life?
Well, I'll never forget that storm for sure. When you head out the plow now, you get that in the back of your mind, saying, I hope this ain't as bad as that one.
95 like?